morning, everybody. Turn this other stuff down. Or good evening, or good afternoon. That's the wrong direction. Wherever you happen to be in the world this morning. I hope y'all are having a good holiday break, holiday thing, if you get the opportunity to have some time off. Let's see here. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about some custom buttons, something like this. We're going to add maybe one or two more to play around with. We'll get to that here in a minute. Making sure everything is looking good this morning. Watching myself on five or six different screens. Not really. Uh-oh. There we go. Trying to watch myself on my phone too. Make sure it's streaming right. Looks good. So how's everybody doing this morning? Throw me some chats so I can see who's here today. And also throw me some questions so I can answer those questions. Also, if you're on my Discord server, make sure that you put the little exclamation mark ask and then a question. It'll put it in the live stream questions channel so that I can see those directly. Let's see here. Trying to get to the stream. Can I go directly to the stream? You would think by now I know how to do this stuff, but I keep changing it just a little bit just to be able to see how it works and make improvements and all that kind of other stuff. So, all right. Well, let's just talk about a couple of things today, this morning, just random thoughts. I finally got a notice that I'm getting the blue, the Home Assistant blue. And for those not familiar, let me make sure that I'm not overtaxing my CPU here. Let's see, where's that at? Let's just go to homeassistant.com or homeassistant.io. And this guy right here, I know a lot of you that were at the conference saw this blue. And so I wasn't sure I was going to get one. I thought I was going to get this is based on the Odroid N2 Plus. And I wasn't sure I was going to get one because I got an email from the local distributor saying that they were out and they were out again and they were out again all the way through March. And it turns out that I must have got in time because I got one and my brother got one. So I know these have probably been around on the internet for a while. Been out. I've seen a couple of videos made on these. I don't know how how some people got them early. I guess I do know. I think I can guess. It's all about who you know. But there's been a couple of videos out on this already, so that's cool. I was going to look for something else here. Let's see here. Good morning, Andy. How are you this morning? Where are you? I'm just curious where people are watching from too. I don't know where anybody is except for, who is it? Who's in northern Quebec? And I don't know if he's on this morning or not. Anyway, I'm getting a blue, and that's not to make anyone feel bad that didn't get the blue. You can buy this Odroid, and this vendor or this distributor actually, if you weren't able to get the blue case, they were making you a deal with the same hardware for this same price roughly, but they're going to throw in a fan and some other stuff as well, and make it worth your while to not have the blue case. And I was fine with that. I was ready to go with that, but then I got an email saying the blue's coming. So I will unbox it, of course, and do the usual stuff you need to do, show it out. I mean, it's out there. Southern Arizona. Who said that? Oh, David's from Southern Arizona. I wonder I bet it's warm there. Southern Arizona, maybe. We're at, right now, 62 degrees. It's probably one of our warmer days this week. 72 is supposed to be the high today. This is Fahrenheit, of course. 69 tomorrow, 72 on Tuesday. Maybe get a little bit of rain this week, which will be nice. All right. So anyway, the blue's coming, and I'll show it off a little bit. I'm gonna do. I don't want to start fresh. I know I talked about maybe starting fresh with the blue and all my configuration, but if you look at if you look at this here, I don't know that I want to take all of this stuff and rebuild it again. I just maybe not have time for it. So Denver, Colorado, Mike from Denver, and Bridgewater, Massachusetts. So we're all U.S. based today, huh? So far, at least people chatting. I know that there is a yeah, 46 to 74. That is yeah, dry heat. That's how you can go 40, 30-degree difference in one day or one morning. Um, I think that I lost my train of thought. Squirrel. I'm going to use that all the time. Squirrel. Anyway, I think what I was talking about was a blue, and I don't really want to reinvent everything here. All the stuff I have built in. So what I'm going to think I'm going to try to do, and I'll think about it some more and think whether I'm crazy or not. But I think what I want to do is go in here and maybe do a video or something on transferring my or migrating my current configuration over to the blue and see how that works out. Oh, Lake Livingston. So yeah, I've talked to you, Lucky J. Yep, you're just north of where my brother-in-law lives there in Spring, Texas. UK 8 degrees Celsius. Oh, hey Geo, 8 degrees Celsius. What does that end up in Fahrenheit? Eight times. Let's see, 8 times 1.8 plus 32. I'm not doing that in my head. Cold, I think. All right, so let's talk a little bit about buttons, because I know I get off on a tangent and then I don't get to the content that I say I'm going to do here. So I want to make sure I do that. So if we look at, hey Jay, don't call it my water usage. Yeah, I took off the cameras because the kids are going to be playing outside. I didn't want to highlight the kids on the video. That causes all kinds of issues with YouTube policies or whatnot. So I usually have the 3 cameras here on my dashboard, but I went ahead and took those off. Yes, 57 gallons of water today. I don't know when the week water resets. It seems kind of weird that it is already this high and it's Sunday. I wonder what day of the week. I don't know if this is right. So I use, for those in the US, I don't know if it's available worldwide or not, but I use a device called a flume meter. And they have a new version. I don't have a new version, but I have this little, well, I don't know. Let's see if I can find it here. All it does is it straps to my water meter. And in the US, we have the water meters either in the ground or in the house or whatever. And it just takes this little thing. I don't know if this is the right one or not. It straps to the water meter. Yeah, this guy's showing it. It straps to the water meter like that, and it measures pressure pressure fluctuations in my water meter somehow. The water meter itself doesn't fluctuate. Just somehow there's a transducer that measures pressure changes, and so whenever the water's on, it senses a pressure change and counts my water usage. So anyway, I use that. The utility here had a rebate program, so I got money back on purchasing one, and it's helpful because what they claim is if you have a water leak, even a slow water leak, it will alert you, and of course it does. It tells me stuff, but I like to track, and of course I graph this stuff too, my water usage over the day. And as a matter of fact, let's look and see here. Must integrate all the things. Oh, I haven't even started yet. Let's see if I have the water stuff on here under environment, maybe. No. Let's look under demo, maybe. No. I have too many dashboards. We'll go quick glance and see if it's here. Yeah, water usage. So I guess this must be daily, and then it resets at midnight. You can see here. And in this water sensor in my area, there's an issue with the pressure readings that the water fluctuates. I guess just the water utility here sends their stuff pulsates just a little bit. So I get a measurement of a tenth of a gallon here, a tenth of a gallon there. So I'm always just a little bit above what my, or a little bit lower than what my reading is in the flume meter, just because the fluctuation differences in the water meter or the water utility. But I keep, because I'm a geek, I nerd out on these things. I have a spreadsheet and I compare the water bill usage, the number of gallons, with the number of gallons of flume reports, and it's always less than 1% difference. So I'm okay with that. It's nothing, it's ever right on. And if you deal with statistics or data at all, you know that nothing is ever 100% perfect. So I'm good with less than 1% difference between the utility bill and what my flume meter is reporting. And that way, when I see these things on social media saying, oh, my water usage is like 100 times more than it used to be last month, what's going on? I know that what I'm being billed for is what I'm actually using. So I'm good with that. Okie dokie. Let's talk about, and Geo's here, so I have to do this right because, you know, Geo's really good at this stuff, and I want to make sure that I don't embarrass myself in front of him. Geo from Smart Homemakers. He has a YouTube channel over called Smart Homemakers, right, Geo? And so if you're interested in more of this stuff, he does a lot of videos on Home Assistant, and he does product comparisons for different consumer type products and things like that. Just a little bit of everything, I think. And so jump over and subscribe to his channel as well if you would like to do that. You can't get enough. You can't get enough of this stuff. At least I can't. Enjoy it. Okay, for the subject at hand, since I don't see any questions yet, we'll just jump into this other stuff. And I do want to see one more thing. So I enable this thing called Super Chats, and I don't know for sure that I'm getting any kind of notice that I would get one of these. Oh, I know. Hold up here. I need to pop out the chat. That's why. I don't even know if Super Chats is working on here. But we'll see. All right. Okay. Yeah, and it's interesting about the UK. I always when I watch Geo's videos in the UK, I have visited the UK. I've been overseas a couple times. I carry about 12 adapters with me because I never know. You know, there's the European version of the adapter, and there's the Middle Eastern version of the adapter, and there's the blah 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 version. But when I watch Geo's videos, I think it's interesting that I don't know if this is code or not, but all the power outlets have switches on them. At least that's what I have seen. So in the US, you just plug it in the wall and there's no switch. It's just on. But I see these switches on these power outlets in the UK type stuff. I think that's always interesting. And I was in India and had the same thing. You plug it in the wall and you're like, oh, it's on. But no, you got to flip the switch. So I find things like that interesting. Differences between the way electricity and code and stuff works in different places. All right, I keep saying I'm going to show you something, and then I keep talking. So let me show you something. Let me show you something. All right, so let me just start by talking about what I mean by custom buttons and versus regular buttons. All of these buttons here are built-in buttons that are part of the Home Assistant core, if you will, and we can look at some of this stuff directly in Home Assistant buttons or whatever. I hope that little video, that guy, doesn't cause me problems. So here, this is a button card. Well, here's a button card. So this is what I'm getting at, right? You have all these different cards you can use. So they call it a card. So we have a button card, calendar, conditional, entity, blah, blah, blah. And you just go through and here's all the different kinds of cards you can use. And these are all built into Home Assistant. You don't need to do anything else with it. In order to use the custom card, which is what these are up here, you need to go and install it. And I will say, I'm not even going to show the hard way. I'm going to show the easy way, or explain how the easy way was done. I use HACS, Home Assistant Community Store. And you can install the Home Assistant Community Store by following the directions. So you can install it as let me find out how you install it. Installation. I show you these websites because I didn't learn this stuff by just guessing. In a lot of cases, I just search for the answers I'm looking for. and then I like to share the knowledge, right? So if you do not have all of the following, and this is important now because they have now upgraded HACS to have version 20.12 and newer as a requirement, as a prerequisite. So don't install it unless you're on 2020. If you're not on 2020, I don't know why you wouldn't be. So an upgrade anyway. One thing I will say about HACS, if you're doing an upgrade from 118.x or no 117, if you're at 117 something and below, do not upgrade HACS until you follow all of the steps because you'll break some of the stuff with HACS. Okay, so you need a GitHub account because you have to. The way HACS works is it goes out to GitHub repositories and bring those in for you. So you'll need a GitHub account, a supported Home Assistant installation, and then you need to be able to get on the file system, essentially using Visual Studio Code or the text editor or whatever you use, and then the log file in case you need to check on things. All right, so those are all the prerequisites, and the reason I'm going through this is because you need this to get the custom button card. So make sure you have HACS installed. So you can install using the HACS install script. So you would go into, and I'm not going to demonstrate this specifically because I already have it installed. You can follow all the steps here if you would like to go through and install HACS or you haven't done it. So then you get the installation script and basically it installs it here. So this is with Home Assistant OS, Home Assistant Container, and it says if you don't know which one of these types of installations you have, you can go into your Home Assistant UI and click on the Info tab. Did I do that wrong? Let me just make sure. Go to Configuration Panel, click on the Info block. Where's Info? There we are. And this will tell you what kind of installation you have. So I have installation Home Assistant supervised. So for me, supposedly, here we go. So all you have to do for Home Assistant supervised, it's the same as Home Assistant OS, but you can run the script directly on the host OS. So you can go directly to the device that you're doing this on and run it this way. So you're just basically running you're getting the file and you're running it all in one single command, and then it installs it. And then once you have it installed, I don't know there's anything else. Yeah, configuration, here we go. There's a bunch of stuff here to go through. Again, I'm not going to go through all of this, but you can, if you don't have HACS installed, I highly recommend it because then you get access to a bunch of stuff. So a lot of guests from abroad get caught up with a switch on the plug while they're charging their phone. And hello from the Netherlands. Hey, isn't that the home of Home Assistant? Netherlands? Maybe? Am I going to get in trouble because I just said that wrong? I don't know. But hello anyway from the Netherlands. Arjan? Okay, so install HACS, go through and do the configuration. You follow all this stuff. All right, I have it installed. So if you run into issues installing HACS on a supported version of Home Assistant later on, I'm always typically available by Discord or comments in the videos or whatever. I typically see all the comments, and I mostly reply to every single one of them. In fact, I don't think there are any that I haven't replied to, except for the spam junk that shows up there. And the same with Discord. I do my best to make sure that I'm able to respond to you all, so that if you have questions about stuff I talk about, that I'll give you some help. I also appreciate the fact that I've seen some community help in my Discord server now, which is amazing, because now what's happening is people are getting on my Discord server asking a question and somebody else has the answer and answers it. And by the way, feel free to answer anybody's question in my Discord server. It's not me talking to y'all Discord server, it's community for y'all to be able to talk back and forth and answer questions. So make sure that you're doing that if you if you have questions and you feel like, or somebody has a question, you feel like you have an answer. All right, HACS is installed, let's assume. And then, of course, you have access to now a whole bunch of things here. So if I go to my Home Assistant community store now on the left-hand side, and I'm not going to upgrade button card, which is funny because I don't want to upgrade it right before live streaming. I saw this morning. You will get notifications here that you have updates. And as I toggle back and forth, down here on the right of my dashboard, you can also see that I have a card. And this is basically just a sensor. It comes out in Home Assistant as a default sensor. So you click on that and it tells you what your update, what's available for updates. And the reason I did this is I got caught up with the 117 to 118 or 118 to 2020, whatever it was, that broke HACS, because I never really went into HACS unless I was installing something. So I never saw the updates. So now that I have this little card here, I can update, or I can see that I have an update update in HACS. Man, my speaking this morning is all messed up. All right, so HACS is installed, and you need to install, you have two options, the integrations, and then you have the front end. Front end is stuff like the button card, the UI kind of stuff. The integrations are things that are more involved with the actual operation of stuff within Home Assistant. So typically for button card, you'd be in the front end. This is where, if I search for button card now, I can see that I have bunches and bunches of these, but I am looking for specifically this particular one, and this is pending update. If it didn't say pending update, it wouldn't have this border on it. I can show you some of the things that I have installed that are these are all installed right now. So I have the dual gauge card, the mini graph card, the weather card. And I used the weather card for a little bit, this animated weather card, but on my system, or really on my browser, it was eating up too much resource, too many resources, too much resources. It was hurting my computer. And so I went back to the stock weather card. This is a really nice weather card. When I open it up and I leave it on all the time on my dash or on my computer monitor, and I'm doing other stuff, it seems to eat up my resources, my CPU time and all that. But it is a nice card. Auto entities, big number cards, mini media player, which I showed on the dashboard. I don't use the clear dark theme anymore because I'm using a built-in dark theme that Home Assistant now has. And then of course I'm using the home feed card and the bar card I was using. All right, so the point of that is to tell you that these are the things I have installed now. I'm going to install just whatever, something random here, just so that you can see how the process works and why you need a GitHub account. What looks cool here? What should we install? Dynamically replace loveless cards depending on occasion. Interesting. Roku card. So this is a Roku remote. I'm going to install this one, I think. Maybe. I'm just looking through here to see if there's anything else. Fire TV remote card. Rotel. Rotel, is that like the chili? The cheese chili thing? I don't know. Oh, that's cool. Zigbee to MQTT network map card. I wonder if there's a Z-Wave network map card. Okay, well, let's just do the Roku card. So I'm going to install this one. So it's simple as installing it here. You can do beta versions if you want to. The current version is 1.2.2. Now, there is a little bit of work to do once you install this. So you can see here that you're going to add this to your configuration file. So I'm just going to copy this now. I'm going to try to copy it. Oh, that didn't work, did it? Copy, Control C. I'm going to go ahead and install it. And as I'm going along here, if I say something that's wrong because I missed the configuration or I'm out of date on something, let me know. It's possible at some point that somebody changed the way something works and I am doing something wrong. All right, so the Roku thing is here. Now I need to go into my configuration.yaml file, and I need to add that. And actually, for me, I keep everything down in this UI loveless.yaml. So all of my custom components are in this file. It can be in your configuration.yaml file, or you can just put it down in here. So I'm going to add it to the end. And you notice what I copied out of there is a URL and a type. So I'm going to paste it in here. Now I need to format it correctly or space it correctly. So your URL is HACS files, Roku card, rokucard.js, and the type is a module. So I would save this now. And the next thing you have to do, and that's the one thing about HACS, is you have to restart. You have to restart Home Assistant when you do changes to these HACS modules or whatever. And it'll tell you if I do an update to this button card, it will tell me whether or not I need to either refresh my cache, which is one option, or refresh my browser. The second option is I would need to restart Home Assistant, and it will tell you which thing you need to do. So I've installed the Roku card, but I'm not going to restart right now because I don't want to restart on the live feed here. I do want to see what that is later on. If I click here on repository, it takes me over to this GitHub page, and maybe they have some information on what this is. So this card, and you can do that. If you click on repository for any of these, it'll take you to the GitHub page and you can see what this is about. So this is a card for Loveless on Home Assistant that displays a Roku remote. Oh, that's fancy, even with the buttons. So I could create a single page and then or dashboard page on my dashboards, load it up on my phone, and then actually use this as the remote. It requires 110 and above. Well, I think we're good there. And there's all kinds of things you can configure: app options, button options, action options. And I guess I was wondering how you specify the media player, which is this, right? So this, I can specifically choose which device I want to act on here. And you can add these custom buttons too. That's cool. I don't know. That might be something fun to play with. We have a Roku remote that occasionally will, it stops working. It's been dropped about 70 times and it's onto a hard floor and it's got issues. So I bought a generic remote, but it's infrared, so you have to hold it point it at the thing for it to work. So this might be an option. Again, way off topic here. We're not talking about Roku remotes, but the point is, right, where you installed an item through HACS, and then of course put it in the configuration file or whatever you're using for your add-ons, and then I'm going to simulate that I restarted Home Assistant, and now we should have the Roku card if I actually restarted it. Okay, so now I have installed earlier. I already installed a custom button card. So this again are these buttons here. Now I built this whole thing, and there's a video on this. I built this whole dashboard on the just in the UI. And one of the questions I got was, how do you do these custom buttons? And I did get another question on Discord about, and let me see who asked that question. Danger Dave. I don't know if Danger Dave is on today, but Danger Dave, this was your question about making a button do something if a state changes. And one of the things that I want to do is motion detection. And on my old dashboard, my original dashboard, every time I would have motion detection, there would be a little button over here that would show the motion detection, and it would kind of pulsate red for a few seconds. And so I want to recreate that, and I recreate that using custom buttons here. And I'll show you what it looks like in the actual code. Oh, see, I got rid of it. Now what did I do that for? Dashboard. Yeah, so it's this custom button card, and we'll build all this here in just a second. So let me move this out of the way. so I can read this and y'all can see the dashboard. This stuff that we're doing with the UI using let me turn my mouse thing. Why am my mouse thing off? Mouse highlight. These things that I'm talking about with the grid cards and stuff where I built this dashboard, all of this can be still edited. The YAML can be edited directly here as well. And some of this requires you to edit the YAML directly, the underlying code. So I'm going to put, let's just put some motion stuff up here somewhere, or maybe at the bottom, we'll see. So I've edited the dashboard over here. I clicked on edit dashboard with this thing, with these 3 dots. And so I'm in the dashboard editing section. I'm going to edit this particular stack. It's really a series of nested grid cards, and you'll have to watch the other video. It's a long video, but it talks about how I nested all these grid cards. And in version 2020, you're supposed to be able to continue to edit some of this stuff, or maybe it's coming. I can't remember now. You can, when you make a change to, I'll show you here. Like up here, I have grid card and I put columns 1. Can you all even see that? Can I make it bigger? Let me see. Oh yeah. I do, I put columns 1 and square false. When you did that prior to 2020, version 2020, like in version 118, it would get rid of your ability to do visual editor. This would be grayed out. You couldn't do visual editing anymore, but now you can if the card you're using has a visual editor ability. So you can see here, there's no visual editor for custom mini media player. And my assumption is that they will continue to add the ability to edit some of these other cards. Now these are all custom. So I don't know what they would figure out, whether they would pick the most common ones or most popular ones and do this. But some of these, as you click through here, you can see that the UI is not supported for media player, and we're still in media player. Here is a climate card. It does have the ability to have UI editing after you've made changes to the YAML. And the same thing here for this entity. What kind of card is this? I think this is an entity card. So these cards actually have the ability to continue editing them. If you watched my video on the dashboard, I talk about the fact that you can't edit it after you make changes to the YAML. Well, that has changed already in version 2020. You can, for cards that have the ability to have that have an editor ability, you can now edit these after you've made code changes to the YAML. So these are all nested grid cards, and you can see over here on the right what we've done here. So again, I'm over here now. What this last row is, yep, it's still entity down here on the bottom. I can edit these 3, except for whatever this is, input Boolean. So I can't, there's no visual editor for this one. In chat, make sure you're asking me questions as we go along if you don't understand something, because I tend to kind of go through it pretty quick. Of course, you can always watch the video over as many times as you'd like. So what I want to do, just to make things simple, is I'm going to add an additional grid card row for these buttons. And it's going to put it where? Let me just put grid card. It's at the bottom. So down here at the bottom is my new grid card. And so now what I'm going to do to be able to make a button and do something custom with it, obviously we need a custom button card. So I will look for custom button. And I don't have, let me just look around here and see if we can do it this way. I may have to just add it manually. So it looks like that's the likely scenario, right? So I need to make a manual card because I don't have the ability to add the custom button card here. And the type is going to have to be custom : button card. And you can see there's a couple things going on. Number one, it's trying to render these things as I type, which things start getting a little back and forth and shaky a little bit as it's trying to render these things. So you'll see it flip around a bit. So I want a custom button card, and I want to create an entity, or I want to choose an entity, And right now you should be able to see down here. Barely. You can barely see that. There is actually a little gray bar here where it's trying to render this. So my entity is going to be, and I'm just going to use like the kitchen motion sensor. So my binary sensor is going to be kitchen living room, which is my motion sensor. This is a wired motion sensor to my alarm panel. And so because it's wired and not battery, it will change state a lot more than some of the other ones will. And I hope someone's walking around down there to demonstrate. And of course the icon is going to be an MDI icon. And if you're not familiar with MDI, those are these guys right here. So you can look for MDI icons on here, material design icons. And there are hundreds and hundreds of these icons. And you can search through here. And so if I look for, if I search for alarm, you can find something that matches what you want it to look like. So you have all these different kind of alarm deals here for MDI icons. In certain versions of, or certain configurations of like Visual Studio Code or whatever, it'll display the icon as you type it in here. So this one's going to be a motion sensor. Wait for it. Now again, it should be rendering this. Yep. So here it's rendering it right now. That's what the card looks like as we've got it configured so far. I'm going to give it a name. And the name is going to be a short version. Oops. How about NAM? How about name? Kitsch. So the reason I do kitsch is it fits nice on here. So now again, we're rendering as we go along. And then the color type. Color type is card. And see what it does to the color here. So there are options. If we look at, and I'll do that. Let me go show you how to figure. Well, not today. Yeah. Let me show you how I can look at all of the options for this card. So you can either search for custom button card in the Googles, or you can go to HACS and look for your installed. Actually, I can click here since it's ready for update. I can go to the repository. Yeah, so Lucky says you just edit the dashboards in YAML versus code. So everything I built, Lucky J, was YAML, everything. And I never really went to the UI version of the dashboard until recently, because I will tell you why. In my time compressed life right now, sure, I can go into YAML, but I have to go to an editor. I have to either fire up Visual Studio Code, or I have to get SSH in, or whatever I have to do, versus coming over to this thing and just clicking a couple buttons, making a change, and we're on our way. But a lot of it still requires a little bit of finesse or a little finagling with the actual code. One of my goals was to see if I could recreate my entire YAML-based dashboard using the UI, or the UI plus a little bit of tweaking with YAML, and that's kind of what I did. So you can build the whole thing straight out of YAML, or you can do it this way. And so yeah, I still do a lot of YAML work. There are still things that you can do better using YAML, building templates, sensor templates and stuff like that. That's all stuff you need to do outside of the UI and things like that. So yeah, I get it. And also I'm a Linux admin, or was a Linux admin. So and then we'd make fun of the people on Windows because they just click the mouse around, and we do everything via keyboard. And so I still like keyboard. I like keyboard shortcuts because when I have to stop and move the mouse around, it's kind of inefficient for me. I guess that's like a little OCD thing or whatever. Where was I going? All right, we're talking about the options for this custom button card. So in all of these, or at least I think all of these, there is a way to do things, or there's documentation on how to do things. So I did a color type card. So you can either color the background of the card or icon, or the icon inside the card. So setting this to card enables automatic font and icon color. So when you use card, if the background changes, the text will change to make the text readable. So you don't have to worry about setting text a certain value if a condition is met or whatever. It'll do it for you. So I use the card option for color type so that it does all the work for me. But there are just tons and tons of options on these cards, these custom button cards. That's what makes them so nice, is you can do all kinds of stuff. And I think, Danger Dave, this will be, oh, the spam. I love spam. I don't know how to get rid of that. Apologies for the spam on my chat here. Okay, squirrel. All right, so the kitchen stuff, right? Here's how it looks now. So it's a white on background, a white on or black on a white background. So I want to change it up a little bit so it doesn't look like that. So here's where we start specifying the state values, or what happens in the state. So in a motion sensor, you get on or off. So either there's motion, so when there's motion, the sensor is on. And when there's no motion, the sensor is off. So I want the card to look a certain way when the motion sensor is on. Or this could be any entity at all. You can't see it here, but in the background, these green buttons will turn red when a door is open. So it's the same kind of setup, although these are green instead of transparent or whatever they're going to be for this. All right, so when the value is on, I want the color of the card. And again, remember, we're using color type card, so the color of the color type we chose will turn red. So it was just color, and it's going to be red. And so because, again, we chose color type card, when it turns red, it'll make the text turn a readable font, a readable color. And then, of course, the icon, I want the icon to change whenever the state goes to on as well. And for that, I'm doing an MDI alert icon. Nothing's changed yet. Okay. And I'm going to add a style because I want the card to kind of pulse. And the reason I do this personally is if I have my dashboard over here, let's say on my left-hand side or whatever, and I'm doing work here and I'm paying attention to motion around my house, I want it to kind of grab my attention. So I do this pulsing thing. So this is a style that I chose. You can customize this button card to whatever you want it to be. You just go through all of these options. Let's see if there's a style here somewhere. You can go through and there's an easy, advanced, injecting CSS with extra styles. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. So you go through this style section here. Style, the card, the icon, the entity picture. You can change the picture, the name, the state, the label, the lock, the tooltip, the custom fields. I mean, you can just go crazy with all these styles and make them do all kinds of stuff like this, for example. It can change that color. I thought it was changing the color. Yeah. You can make it change its colors. You can nest stuff inside of other stuff. It can get complicated, but what I'm about to do is not that complicated. And you'll see here, style for the card. And all I'm going to do is animate it. Animation. Blink. So I want it to blink for 2 seconds. And I want it to ease. So it's like a pulse, a nice gentle pulse. And I want it to blink infinitely. So it will blink infinitely as long as the state of the card or the state of the sensor is on. And that's it. That's 100% it for that. So now that you've done this, and now what's interesting is what I don't see here, and I'll need to figure this out, is in my previous dashboard, this was, maybe I need to get out of this editor. Let's just see. In my other dashboard, this card was transparent or based on the background of the other cards, and for some reason this time it is not. Let me refresh. One thing I do note sometimes is when you make some changes, you need to refresh, kind of clear your cache and have it come back. I don't think that's the case this time, but we'll see. Now, so if somebody walks in front of, and we'll see it. See, there's detected. And it's not doing what I told it to do. So all this I just said, it was a lie. Just kidding. You can't really do that. So I do see, and you'll see here, see the back door is unlocked. The back door was open. I'm doing this with the custom button cards. I'm not doing the, for some reason I must have typoed something there. But you can see here that the back door is open and I've changed this card. So let's look at this one real quick because that one's working like it's supposed to. So let's go into Edit Dashboard. I wonder if there's a way to, oh yeah, here we go. I'm going to try to remove these other things because I don't like this at all. Huh, interesting. It's coming in for my Twitch. All right. So on this one here, let's look at this code for these cards right here. And so I'm going to edit this whole section. And I'm going to find these. That's 1, 2. It should be the third one down. And see, this is this says again, there's no editor. Dun, dun, dun. The garage door is open. Yes, they're going out to play. No visual editor available for custom button card. Okay, but it is working, right? So here's the styles. So my background color is green. And this is another thing. When on my tap action, when I click on these things, it will actually like lock the door or whatever. So for the front door, the lock itself, my action is toggle, my state is false. So styles, when it's not, when the lock is locked, which would be false, or I'm sorry, the state would be unlocked. We have a couple of, okay, let me start over because I just said it all wrong. Edit that part out of the video. So we have show state false, styles card, background color is green. So it's always going to be green unless something else occurs. My filter opacity is going to be 70%. So that means these little icons are going to be at 70%. You can make them go even less. And then the name is going to be 12 pixels. Color's white. And here's why I like the name and the font size. Because see how big this is compared to these up here? These names all fit on the card. These do not fit, and I've had to shrink them down. So I will probably change these out to custom button cards at some point so that I can get better control of the font. And if you can control the font in the regular card, let me know. I may be able to do that directly, but I haven't tried it. So again, font size is 12 pixels and the color is white. So because the opacity is 70%, this looks a little gray, but it's really white. And of course, when it's 100% opacity, then it's fully white. So then we have a value, and this is the default value of the card. This is how it sits whenever the state is not unlocked. So when we go to unlocked, our icon becomes MDI lock open, and you can see this. So this is lock, this is just lock closed or lock. This is lock open. So you can see that the lock is open on here. This is door closed, and now this door is open. So someone's got the door open, and it turns red. And it's a quick visual indication of what's going on in your environment. So to get that, you have, for the lock anyway, you have background color red. My opacity becomes 100%. My icon color is white, and my name color is white. Now you'll notice on this one, I didn't set the color action to card. It's not auto doing all the setting of colors and things. I chose the colors myself. So that works okay on this. It may be in this version of the UI editor that I'm using, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'm going to check my work here in a minute, that it doesn't work with just the card stuff. So that's how I build that. Y'all have any questions, by the way? Any comments? Any questions on anything? Just general chat. Everyone still recovering from the holiday? I don't know that I'm going to recover till my kids go back to school. They are one of the, I don't know, you can view this either fortunate or unfortunate. They get to go to in-person learning in 8 days or 7 days, so or 8 days. So they will be at school and being taken care of over there. All right, this for whatever reason is not changing color. So let me just double check that I didn't do something wrong here on the code. And what I'm looking at when I do this is the code that I built from my original dashboard. Let's see, this is level 7. So the type is a custom button card. 48.6 in my fridge, a little warm. I'll talk about the fridge in a second, because the fridge, I'll talk about the fridge. My poor refrigerator. All right, so binary sensor, kitchen, living room motion. Binary sensor, kitchen. The only thing I could think is maybe I got that spelled wrong. Did you add custom card to resources now? Yes. So my custom card stuff is working. It's been there for a very long time. So I know that's in there, and these other custom cards are there. If you're asking, do you add it to the custom card, the resources? You would add that to the resources. My understanding is that every time you add an HACS component, it shows you the code, the resource code, whether it's a module or JS, that you put on your resources file, your configuration YAML, or in my case, I use the, what is it called? I use UI loveless.yaml. That's where I keep all my resources and just UI specific stuff. So yeah, so Joseph, yeah, you would put it in there. I'm going to paste in my entity ID just to make sure I didn't typo it. Oh yeah, see, I messed it up. Okay, well, that's why that didn't work. Yeah, okay, right off the bat. That's going to work. So, unfortunately, everybody's outside now, so I can't, hopefully somebody walks in. So what happened was, this kitchen was white, obviously, because this entity that was here was I typoed it. It didn't have the right entity name in there. So once I fixed that, now it matches the theme, so it's kind of a muted background. And whenever somebody trips that motion sensor, it will turn red. So we'll just save that there. So now that's the way it's supposed to look. I think it's funny that y'all are like looking back at all this stuff back here while I'm talking about something. You're like, well, what's the fridge temp today? Let's check Chris's fridge temp. So let's talk about the refrigerator. Yes. Before we talk about the fridge, let me show this again here. Whoops. Where'd it go? Where did it go? So under my UI loveless. Oh wait, I think someone's coming in. Are they going to trip this? Let's see if they walk into the kitchen. I can hear them messing around down there. I need to add the front hall motion so that, oh, let's see, the door's open. Let's wait and see. Somebody walk in the kitchen. So I have a garage, and I have a camera in the garage, and I see sometimes people doing stuff like the kids, and I want to tell them something. Don't do that. And I keep saying, I need a speaker in the garage. And this would be the time I would say, somebody go walk in the kitchen so I can trip the sensor and demonstrate it for my video. All right, well, wait a minute. I don't know if they went back out or what. Okay. Squirrel. I was talking about this. Yeah, so my card, custom card, that's wrong. That's why that doesn't work. A long while back, everything moved from like custom card something to this HACS files. So they standardized the directory where everything goes. So this must be an old one, and if I'm using it, that's why it doesn't work, because this directory is no longer valid. This is the valid directory now, HACS files. But here is HACS files, buttoncard.js, and that's the module. So yes, Joseph, I have this in my UI loveless or my resources file, and you're right. That's to point that out. You're correct. Is it automatic now? That's what I wasn't sure about because it doesn't put it in here. Um, because the Roku card thing didn't automatically get added. But is it automatic Zappy because it puts it somewhere right? This is not red anymore. Like if I removed one of these things, would all my stuff for that particular module stop working? I suppose I could remove the button card or comment it out here, and if it still works, then I know it's in there. Um, there is config loveless resources through the web GUI. Let's go look over there. Configuration loveless. Is it? It's not loveless dashboards, right? No. Oh, resources. Okay, look. So let's just look for Roku. Okay, so y'all correct me here because that's a good call out. These are all things that are in my my resources file now. Oh, right here. Duh. Okay, there you go. I am using Loveless in YAML mode. Therefore, I cannot manage my resources through the UI. So I have to specify them in there directly. And then when I refresh or restart Home Assistant, that Roku thing I stuck in there is going to show up here. So this is a way you can verify whether or not if you're doing YAML mode, and it sounds like Lucky J. It sounds like Lucky J. If you're doing all YAML stuff, you will have this available to you for a reference, but you can't do anything to it. And the reason, and let me show you what it means when it says YAML mode. Let me go back to configuration. And let me do that off of here so we don't end up sharing all my secrets. When I pull this up, I don't know necessarily what's in configuration before I view it myself. So I don't want to inadvertently give you all my credit card numbers. Just kidding. I don't put credit card numbers in Home Assistant. All right, so I'm looking for YAML. Not that YAML. So yeah, let me see. Site ID, IP. Okay, oh, wait, let me go down here. Just checking. All right, I can show this, I think. You see something? I know Dr. Z ends up sharing his secrets once a year by accident anyway. Why not me? All right. So, oh, that didn't work. It disappeared. Where'd it go? Okay, so I just kind of screwed that up. Here we go. So right here, my loveless mode is set to YAML. So when I try to do certain things, it knows I'm doing a YAML mode. This is a holdover from way back when I was doing everything in YAML. We didn't have all this ability to do stuff through the UI. So this is what it's telling me here is it's going in that YAML mode. It says I'm in YAML mode and can't do anything. All right. So what do we say? That I do have my resources in the YAML file when I add them something. Okay. Yeah, so Joseph, that's right. So if you're going straight in, if you didn't enable YAML, this is another case for starting over too. I may start over with the blue when I get it and just kind of clean things up and not put a bunch of extra stuff that I'm not using anymore in it. I mean, it's always a good time to clean house when you get a new server or a new whatever. Well, getting the new blue on the Odroid and just kind of moving things over one at a time might be actually the way to go. Lucky says, appears that if a person only used the GUI to edit dashboards, they would not need to hand edit. Yep, that's correct. So if you don't have this loveless mode YAML in your configuration, in this configuration.yaml file, then you don't need to, or you'll be able to hand edit that resources file using this section here. But of course, I cannot. But it is a good way, if you are in YAML mode, to check that when you add a resource through HACS, that it shows up here. If it does not, it's not going to work. So question answered. Oh, I hear somebody. Where's my dashboard? Oh no, where's my dashboard? Let's see if it shows up. Is it too late? Study motion. No one's going to the kitchen. Are you kidding me? They always go to the kitchen. The kitchen is where all the action is. Okay, so let's just do this real quick. I'm going to add a front haul motion too. So edit dashboard. And this is, once you get one here, it's super simple to add another one. So I will go to number 7, which is row 7 here. And I will just copy this whole thing. Well, there's front door ring sensor stuff going off. And I will take a couple spaces. Come on. Back up against the wall here and just paste it. So now I have the same thing, obviously. Well, it says duplicated mapping at line 14, column 1. Yep. Oh, you know what? I can't do this. I'm going to have to add another. I can still copy it. I just need to add another card here. So let's add another card. Be manual. Manual card. And then I'll just paste in all that stuff. Okay, now I have 2 cards, and they're exactly the same. So now I'm going to change this one to, where's my editor here? Let me find the right sensor. Back to dashboard. And then we'll do let's do front haul motion. So let me copy and paste it. I'm just copying this from my other config just for sake of getting it right and for ease. For laziness? Okay, if you want to call it lazy. This is going to be front haul. Oops. Front haul. What did I call that one? Haul. I'll just call it haul. Again, I can specify the fonts here, and I may do that so it's easier to read. That should say haul. It does. All right, and then everything else is the same, and I can add yet a third one. We'll do study. I'll add another manual card. So Greg says, if you use the GUI mode, you don't have to manually add the resources, but you can still then add a YAML dashboard under configuration. Loveless. Yes. Yeah, I'm in the YAML mode. I wonder what happens if I turn that off. Like, just take that out. Whoops. I didn't copy the whole thing. Let me copy this whole thing. Yeah, I wonder if I just disabled that or commented out that YAML mode would let me do things without breaking all the rest of it. That would be something to try when I have a lot of time and everyone's in bed or not using it. Maybe even everyone's gone from the house. I'm turning off YAML mode, people. If you don't hear from me in a week, send help. All right, that's going to be front haul. I want to do study. Where's study? Oh, hey, there's garage door, garage motion. I wonder if that actually works. I have one of those AOTech motion sensors in the garage. For some reason, it doesn't. The motion seems to break on that randomly, and it showed the light comes on, but it doesn't actually send me any motion. And it's Z-Wave battery powered. All right, so it's all the same. So I should have 3. Okay, so let me save that. Oh, you know what else I want to do? These are still set as square. So I'm going to edit this uppermost card here, wherever that is. How do I get back to that? Let me go back to code editor. So at the very bottom of all these things, I should have another grid card. All right, so these are all my motion sensors that reference this row right here. And I want to specify 3 columns, which is default, so I don't need to do that right now. I will say square, false. False. See how it tries to render and then it moves everything around while you're trying to type? It's a little disconcerting. Okay, what did I break? Cannot read a block mapping entry. A multi-line key may not be an implicit key at line 88. Oh, I have to put in a colon. Okay. So it doesn't really change much, but it says square false, so it doesn't square these up. Let's see, we got some comments coming. All right. So you can have a totally separate dashboard in YAML mode, but still have it on for overview. Nice. I actually have a fully YAML dashboard. I think that's what you're saying. Let me get out of this editor. All right, so while we're talking about that, let's see if anyone will walk in here. Blue iris alert. I need to make a video on my blue iris stuff. So I have my camera tied to blue iris, and somebody walked on the front porch, and it sent me an alert in my home feed card. That's cool. That's something I haven't watched very closely since I turned that on. What was I saying? All right, so if you can have a totally separate dashboard in YAML mode, but still have it on for overview. Yeah, so I have on my dashboards under configuration, I know I was going to watch those motion sensors, but I guess I won't. Loveless dashboards. And then I have, this is my new dash. This is my overview. See how it's controlled? YAML file versus UI controlled. So this dashboard is 100% YAML, and these other two are just controlled directly from the UI. And so yes, my dashboard here is a dashboard.yaml. It is this file right here, and it has all of my stuff in it, and that's where I'm copying some of these things from. But you know, this is the whole dashboard from top to bottom. Just how many? 1,597 lines of code. They're not code. 1,597 lines of stuff, and it's all based on YAML. And then I don't know where the other stuff is stored. Somewhere in the depths of Home Assistant or my other files, but those are the UI controlled ones. And then I can show this in the sidebar. And so, yeah, I can't do that. Never mind. But anyway, the point is, this is my new dash, and that's the one that defaults to it, and then I can edit that in the UI. So yeah, you can do both. Oh wait, someone's walking inside. Oh no, we're gonna miss it. Where's my new dash? Front hall, door, garage motion. When it clears, this will stop flashing. All right, I'm gonna leave it on this page for a second while I read comments, because I keep missing people walking around down there. Okay, so well, let's see. I tried to install Home Assistant using VirtualBox today. Although HA was running on VirtualBox, I couldn't access it in my browser. I have ordered Odroid instead. There's a whole. I have not done that, but there's a whole bunch of stuff about supported versus unsupported versions of Home Assistant, and I wish I was more of an expert on that, but I'm not. But running it in the virtual environment, I've heard people do that. You got to be aware of getting things through the ports and all that stuff through your virtual environment. I would think it would take, and it sounds like maybe you do, that you do understand the virtual stuff, that you have to get ports to work. And one of the big things is getting Z-Wave, if you're using that or something like that, the USB through into your virtual environment, getting your networking stuff working in your virtual environment and all that kind of stuff. So it makes it more complicated. I also think it's probably not a supported OS, and so you may end up with issues on certain things not working right. And then if you try to ask somebody about it officially, they're going to tell you it's unsupported. Now, in the Home Assistant community, you're going to get help, but you may not be able to solve it without really digging into it. So I would definitely stick with supported stuff if you can do it. And Odroid, of course, is now. So not an expert. Other people can talk about that more expertly than I can. And then, of course, Lucky J's answering it for me already. If running on a VM, you need to check on your network settings for the VM. Not sure off the top of my head which is right to host. Yeah, so it's complicated because you got to make sure everything is in the right spot and getting through the right places. My HA runs on an XCP NG VM. Yeah, and again, you have to get familiar to pass through the different parts like USB. So if you look, I run Portainer. Watch, I'm going to walk away from my screen again, and someone's going to walk in there and trip my motion. So I use Portainer, which is an add-on for... no, I didn't ask for that. So if I look at my containers and I look at the published ports for the containers, and I don't know if I can, I don't know how to scroll this to the right. Anyway, you already see here like these different add-ons, all these, and if you're running, I'm using Docker, which is why I've got Portainer. So I have all these ports. So you've got 7277, you've got 3478, 8086, 51820, 2022, 81. I mean, you can see here you have all these ports. And so all of this stuff would have to get through if you're running it kind of in this kind of containerized version through on your VM. So, and I realize I'm talking about it, and then y'all are talking to each other, probably answering all the questions before I get to them. So do you run into problems with integrations that lose contact with, especially Zigbee devices? I wish we could integrate. I don't run Zigbee. I have heard things about integrations that lose contact with Zigbee devices. Are you talking about? Do you have an example? The name is No Thanks. No Thanks. Do you have an example? Somebody on here probably has Zigbee experience, and I unfortunately do not. I run everything Z-Wave. In fact, I either have a Z-Wave or I have anything that's Wi-Fi. Really, it's only my Nest stuff that's Wi-Fi. That has an integration. Oh no, my Z-Wave, I think my Shelly flood sensors are Wi-Fi. So I have a few Wi-Fi things, but those are through integrations. I don't typically have a problem with anything losing contact with anything else. But Zigbee, I understand Zigbee is kind of an interesting thing to play with. Why is my virus protection turned off? Why does it have to alert me while I'm doing stuff here? Get out of here. There's some setting on Windows that's supposed to turn on focus mode so you don't get alerts. Uh-oh, that's why. My Malwarebytes trial is over. I saw some weird stuff on my network a few weeks ago, and I installed this thing called Malwarebytes to check out my network, and it was a trial, and now it's over. I may give that a shot. All right, so like I have a Tuya device that will lose connection even with local Tuya integration. If very low Tuya never finds it. Yeah, you know who to ask about that probably. If you jump onto Dr. Z's Discord, there's a channel on there for Tuya devices, and that's probably an issue that's been asked. So I don't have any Tuya stuff. I have ESP, which is really the ESP thing I have is actually this right here. My Adano card reader has an ESP device in it, and then my Shelly stuff is that, and then everything else is Z-Wave. So Zigbee is a mess since the protocol is not strictly followed. Yeah, and the other thing too could be like the Zigbee hub or whatever it is that you're using could be something going on. So I know Zigbee is supposed to be cheaper or less expensive, the Zigbee devices or sensors, but I don't know what other benefit there is other than that. Z-Wave for me has been rock solid, knock on wood. I went from integrated Z-Wave to open Z-Wave beta, and everything just works without a problem. I think Zigbee too suffers from you've got to have adequate coverage. Where does it save the new dashboard? YAML files. I create a new dashboard through the UI, but cannot find it by browsing through the Samba. Yeah, that's a great question. Where does it put that stuff? Does anybody know where it stores those files? I think it's probably under something like, let me collapse all these. I have a lot of duplicate deals here. So I think something like storage is where I've seen stuff like that. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, so these are the two that I created. So if you go into .storage, which is a hidden directory, and you scroll down to well, you just scroll down in here, you'll see all these things that are here. So you have Loveless dot whatever. I don't know what that one is. Oh, this is a listing of your dashboards. Yes. So Loveless underscore dashboards are actually your dashboards themselves, and then the things with Loveless dot whatever are actually your dashboards that you created. So you can see all of the YAML stuff in here. It looks like JSON actually. This looks to me like it's all JSON. Yeah, this is JSON. It's JSONized your YAML. So that's where it is. Yeah, so no thanks. I think I've heard stories about Z-Wave or Zigbee. You've got to make sure you have adequate coverage, and people have had to run repeaters and stuff like that. All of my light switches and most of my plug in the wall stuff, they're all by default Z-Wave Plus. And if I'm understanding it, Z-Wave Plus has the ability to be a repeater. And so all of my stuff is kind of connected, and the network knows where everything is, and it finds its nearest neighbors and creates a mesh network that works just fine. So I've never had any Z-Wave failures anywhere because I have enough stuff that it just keeps everything talking to each other. I don't think Zigbee does it that well. Several meters from the hub. Yeah, but what is Z-Wave? What is Zigbee's frequency? I don't know. Maybe there's some interference, something. Let's see what I got here. Where does it save it? Z-Wave is more stable, more expensive. I mean, maybe expansive. Expansive, maybe. Blah, blah, blah. I've got a smart things button. That's within a few meters of my Zigbee hub, and it will lose connection. Z-Wave scenes now work easier in the new Open Z-Wave. I don't know. Z-Wave scenes. I've never used a scene. Maybe that's a topic for another video. Is that in here somewhere? Where do you create scenes at, y'all? And while we're doing that, let me go back here. I want to make sure I keep watching this over here. I want that to trigger. So do you have a video series on how to get HA up and running? This series. So when I get the blue is kind of going to be that. Mike? Are you talking about like from the beginning, or what device are you talking about? Because I have a Raspberry Pi 4 that I'm toying with, just doing here's how you start with Home Assistant. That would be kind of a fun video series. So I could do that. The blue, that I talked about earlier, the Home Assistant Blue, which is an Odroid device with a blue case on it, Home Assistant case on it. That will be something I probably transfer over, or either that or restore config from my backups. That will be a different way to do it. But yeah, I could put something together. Z-Wave to MQTT. I haven't tried that because I went to Z-Wave Beta, Open Z-Wave Beta, which is MQTT. I don't know how those two compare. But I've heard a lot about Z-Wave to MQTT. I've heard of it a lot. I haven't delved into that very much. What happened to my Discord? It just failed on me. Is it restarting? Oh, my Discord just lost connection. Weird. How do you link them if you create them vice versa? What are you asking, Joseph? How do you link the dashboards? I don't think you do. Uh-oh. Yeah, JSON internal. That's interesting. What is going on? Is my internet connection all over the place here? Did I lose connection? Are y'all still seeing me? Hello? No. Open Z-Wave has been perfectly fine for me. I haven't had any issues with it at all, and I'm happy, completely happy with Open Z-Wave. Trying to keep up this chat, but for some reason it's popping around. Duplicate devices. So Open Z-Wave, yeah, you will have to rename your devices. I did that, and watch my video on going from Z-Wave to Open Z-Wave Beta. I ended up one of the reasons I ended up renaming is everything is so I could switch back to regular Z-Wave if something were wrong with Open Z-Wave Beta, but I didn't have to. But I created basically two separate sets of entities, one with the OZW on the end of it, and the other one with just the regular one I already had. So you can't rename it. They're working on a migration tool. So at some point, you'll be able to migrate from Z-Wave to Open Z-Wave, and hopefully that'll take care of the naming issue. But right now, I just did it all manually. Not really impressed by the Z-Wave. I find it hard to set up devices properly. Yeah, Open Z-Wave is a little bit better. The problems I had with getting anything set up were really just door locks that had security on them. And I did this years ago. I got the door locks working. They've been working for a number of years. You got to make sure your network key stuff is correct. You had to be super close to the lock, within a couple of meters of the lock or less. When you first paired it, that was a thing. Anything security wise had to be very close. I don't know if that's the case anymore. So yeah, Joseph, on the duplicate stuff, you may just want to rename everything and just have a duplicate set so you could switch back to the regular Z-Wave if you wanted to. Everyone sees me, yay! Let's see, configuration scenes. That's where we're I'm way getting off topic here. Well, I'm not off topic. I'm just talking about different things here. I was looking for scenes. I'm in configuration. Why do I not see scenes? So you say configuration scenes. I must not have something on because of the YAML mode, because I don't see the scenes. So let me just go back to configuration. Configuration scenes. Unless this is something different now in the newer versions, I don't see scenes anywhere. So what am I missing here? All right, set up HA to capture the scene. Multi-press of buttons. You have to edit the Z-Wave code with HA shut down. It's a pain in the Yep, and gets lost sometimes. Are you within the latest post about Odroids going out? They posted for people who ordered before 12:45 on the day after these. My Odroid came from a place called Ameridroid in the U.S. and they emailed a bunch of us saying that they were going to be out of stock, and they didn't know who was going to get theirs until they checked the warehouse in California. They checked the warehouse in California, and apparently my order must have been one of them, because I got an follow-up email saying my stuff is shipped. So did my brother, who ordered it shortly after I did, after the conference. So as far as the Odroid or the Blue, I'm going to end up getting that next week sometime. I think that's what you were asking, though. Are you within the latest post about Odroids going out? They posted for people ordered. Are you? No, thanks. Are you in the U.S.? Did you buy from Ameridroid? Because that's who mine came from. My brother Mark had to go through dealing with one of his buttons, setting the different buttons up for the Z-Wave stuff. I don't know. I don't have anything that has multi buttons on it yet. Y'all ask interesting questions, because I have a lot of stuff on here, but it's obvious I don't have everything, because you're asking questions and piquing my interest about things that I haven't played with yet, like multi-button things. Can you show how configuring devices are done in Open Z-Wave? I will touch on that because I don't want to break anything, but that's under integrations over here, configuration integrations, and Open Z-Wave. So under configure, all you do here is add, remove, or cancel a command. So under nodes, these are all my nodes. Now you can click on one of these if you're asking about how to configure it. Oh, that's cool. This is something I had to set manually when I first set these lights up. So the light, I don't like the lights on. There's a little blue light that's on the bottom of all these wall switches, and I don't want those lights on when the light's off. The light switch is off. The light itself is off, and that's how it was. So I guess you can set that now. You can invert the switch. Now, I don't know if these are settings or this is just what it's read. I know there's configuration here somewhere. I don't see anything here. Maybe it's a different type of, I'm just looking through different types of sensors here. This is really filled out. That's nice. This panel is currently read-only. The ability to change values will come in a later update. Okay, so it just tells me what this stuff is. If I go to the entity, though, instead of the device, if I go back here to entities, I can do stuff with them. Let me go find that. Open Z-Wave. I have 134 entities. Yeah, Joseph, I don't have anything with scenes.yaml, I don't think. I'll check here in a second. Usually among automations and scripts. Yeah, I'll look over here in a second. All right, sensors. Let's look at, I didn't talk about my refrigerator. I was supposed to talk about my refrigerator. So let's look at this binary sensor. Just click on this and see what we get. Nothing there. When I configure these things, there was all kinds. There's a panel that has a bunch of this stuff on it. I'm not sure why I'm missing this now. But it has all of the devices here. See, now I've lost my filtering. I go to Open Z-Wave, back to devices. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. So this particular device is this is part of my power outage sensor, and I can get node details here like I did over here, or go back over to this. I can add automations. I can add scripts. And then I've got these entities that are enabled, and I have 8 disabled entities that if I click on one, I can enable the entity for that. So when you get a device that has multi-buttons, it might be something that's configurable this in here. And I know that, there's no way I can pronounce your name, Oystein. Can you show how configuring devices are done in Open Z-Wave? This is kind of the only way I know of right now, is if you get a device that has a configuration screen available to you, you can do stuff here. And I would assume that the buttons that you would have would be separately listed here. Each button would have a thing, or a long press, and then you can configure things to do. If it's a long press or whatever, you can do something here. So there's not a lot of configuration I see in Open Z-Wave. When I moved over, I didn't have to do anything really other than just change the name. And of course, you do that. I click on one of these things and I just come over to settings. I rename it here, and if I want to rename it, I can rename it down here as well. So you can rename stuff that direction or that way. But I think you could do that in the other version of Z-Wave. All right, so let me just talk about my refrigerator, because I was told that my refrigerator temperature is too high. Oh, check it out. Is someone gonna set a, come on, you can do it. I heard a door close. I was waiting to see. I thought I saw the garage light up there for a second. On those screens where it shows automations and scripts, I also have scenes. Well, let's just see. Enable scenes. Oh, my internet's slow for some reason. Let's get out of that. Oh, wait, that wasn't any good. Come on, Google. Scenes. Yeah, I don't know what happened to my Discord server, but it went south on me here. Not sure why you were looking. Yeah, someone asked about scenes, right? Well, that's interesting. Maybe my internet is really messed up or something. If y'all are seeing me, that's cool. I can't go to this page. Let me pull it out of here. so I don't have them tell me I've done something wrong with the screen here. Yeah, that's weird. Are we having some sort of internet outage in the world? Because my my Discord is offline or not showing me anything anymore. And then I can't seem to get to anything else. I cannot pull up a search page. Okay, fine. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do something else. Duck, go. Yeah, this will get me. Let me get off of there. I wonder, I'm running AdGuard too, so I wonder if AdGuard is doing something weird. Did I break something with AdGuard here? I've been talking about moving over to a new device, and maybe my Home Assistant server heard me, and it's sad. Okay, so let me just see if I have scenes.yaml anywhere. Maybe that's the problem. I don't have scenes.yaml in my configuration. I don't. So it's possible that I don't have that. And if that's the case, then I'll have to restart it, which I don't want to do in the middle of whatever's broken here. So that's odd. I cannot go to anything Google related at the moment. I can't search for anything. I can't search on any search engine. I wonder if downdetector.com is actually a this site. And my Discord server has disconnected. Well, we'll give up on that. All right, so do we have questions? Yeah, is my DNS down? I don't know. Yeah, it's probably totally related to something. Yeah, see, I can't do anything there. I wonder what happens if I try to change my DNS settings right in the middle of a stream. Let's look at this. Did I if I go into supervisor and I look at add-ons, make sure that AdGuard is running. Yeah, I guess I'm looking at my stream on my phone. I forget. I can tell the stream is working. What other questions y'all have today? Any good fun stuff? I'll see now. Look at this. I wonder if this is completely related to Home Assistant now. This may be the end of our stream today. So this is where you're going to learn some troubleshooting steps. Let's get into our, yeah. So what if that's the case? If it's DNS related and because AdGuard's failed, it's all on the same device. It's possible that my Home Assistant server is doing something weird. So here's my Home Assistant server. Let's look and see how much resources. Oh, it's not doing anything. Huh. I think my browser's toast. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to close the browser and reopen it. I also cannot open up whatchamacallit either. Discord. So the server itself is great. This is the server I'm running Home Assistant on. It looks great. So no problems there. I am trying to reopen Chrome. Do we have to go to Firefox for today's remaining stream? All right, let's see what happens here. Loading, and we're loading. So what was the question? It's annoying to have everything on one box. Reboot all together and restart the stream. Nah. If I have to reboot, we'll call it for the day. But I think it's just a browser thing because everything else is working except for Discord. Discord is like a app that runs on the Chrome infrastructure anyway, I think. Pi-hole versus AdGuard. I like AdGuard better because I like the fancy interface. I like the ability to do things with it that I didn't find the ability to do in AdGuard. So let's see if I can load it up now. Yeah, I think we're gonna be okay. Restarted the browser. I had my streaming platform open in another tab, and I think that killed it. So in the last 30 days, 2.2 million queries, 537,000 blocked. So I like things. Here's one of the things I like about this is I can go into the client settings for this, and it's easy to do through a UI. I can add a client to do DNS to IP mapping. Now here's the thing. My setup is such that I don't have my AdGuard sending my I don't have AdGuard doing my DHCP. And when you don't have AdGuard doing your DHCP, then you don't get the DNS resolution for these host names typically. And so I'm able to set those through AdGuard. I like the ability in AdGuard to be able to turn off stuff. If I go to, I think it's client settings, and I edit one of these, let's just say edit this, I can go in here and block specific services on that client just based on UI, and it's a lot easier to do that. Probably in Pi-hole you could do that. I don't know, but I used Pi-hole for a while, and I found that Pi-hole was also blocking my some of my stuff for some reason. So you can see here I have block services on some of these things. Yeah, this is not a lot of queries, but that's over a 30-day period, I think. I think that's what I said. Oh, wait. We missed it again. Gosh. Every time I hear the door close, it's too late. Trust me, those turn red when there's motion. I know that. So anyway. Yeah, this is interesting. I looked what this was. This is why I installed the malware thing the other day. There's a site that keeps hitting this, and it's hitting it from multiple devices within our network, the home network, and I don't know what it is. Nobody's going to that, but even my computer that I'm streaming this on today has entries blocked by this from a domain, and there's no malware on it that I see. So I just like the overall appearance of AdGuard. I don't think, and if you look at Frank, a lot of his stuff, he builds a lot of these integrations. He was pushing AdGuard over Pi-hole as well, I think, for a while. And so I just jumped on it. I like the way it is. Settings, a lot of settings. You can set up filters. One of the things you can do as well is you can set your upstream DNS servers. You can set multiple upstreams. You can do all this through the UI. There's just a ton of stuff you can do, and probably in Pi-hole you can do that too. I just like this a lot better. So I've stuck with AdGuard. I can see what's happening. Like if you look at the query log, you can see specifically what's happening over time. You can filter unblocked. All right, let's see. People are walking around. Let's cross our fingers and see if someone trips an alert here. I have free PBX running. Did you hear about the Sangoma hack? No, I did not. And yes, I do run free PBX. That is my phone system here in the house. What is going on with, I guess I'll have to research that, the Sangoma hack. So now there's people upstairs, and I don't have the upstairs motion sensor on here. So let's just, oops. Let's edit that real fast. I'm gonna throw on one more thing here, and we're gonna add one more upstairs motion sensor. So I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna add another card here, manual card, and I'm going to put in the upstairs motion sensor, and I got to find it now. Oh, I shut down Visual Studio Code. Okay. We'll just say upstairs and see if we're right. I'm going to guess. Is that right? Looks like it's right because it graded out. And we'll call this upstairs. So now that I have 4 items across here, this grid card defaults to 3 columns. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the code editor, and I'm going to change this setting for these cards under the grid card to columns 4. And if this makes no sense to you, you need to watch my other video. I go into that in pretty good detail. And now I have 4 things across, and let me save it. Now, if somebody walks in one of these areas in this house, I will get a card change. Somebody walk around. So I follow crosstalk. Did he talk? I guess he must have talked about, oh, Sangoma get ransomware. Well, that sucks. Hey, Alexander from Germany. How are you doing today? Yeah, I guess I'll have to look at crosstalk. I'm behind on my subscription watching. I binge watched the TV show or Star Trek Discovery. I'm in the middle of watching that. And with the holiday stuff, the last few days we've had some family stuff we've been doing, so that's taken precedence, and I haven't been able to watch some of this stuff. Did I answer? And again, I don't think that I wish Discord would work. That Danger Dan was on here today. Oops, why didn't that work? So I don't know if I answered this question, but he was kind of asking about, is this useful to y'all? Did you learn something from the buttons, even though I can't apparently I can't demonstrate them? What is going on with my computer? DISC. Okay, something's weird going on. Maybe the ransomware from FreePBX has eaten up my stuff. More financial stuff gets stolen. Oh, I don't have anything on that box. I mean, unless they're putting some sort of APT in my network. I don't have anything connected to that box with the phones. Yes, as in helpful, Joseph? Oh, yay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Discord. I mean, I could certainly open it. I don't know that there's... the only reason I care at this point is I want to make sure I've answered any questions. But I can't... Oh, see, now look. This is interesting. So let me go look and see what's blocked. I wonder if... do you think Discord just got blocked as a... hey, that's blocked. It didn't get blocked as a filtered site or anything. Weird. Yeah, Discord can't be it can't be resolved. Weird. Well, we'll deal with that later. I can't get on Discord at the moment. I need to open up something in proxy through a different browser. All right. The issue is we don't know if they got master signing key for the module. Oh, for FreePBX. So it's a industry wide. Yeah, I definitely need to watch that. Yeah, that's bad. So Zappy, do you do stuff with FreePBX, or you just noticed that I had it somewhere? I gotta quit this. I don't need this open anymore. What happens if I change my DNS midstream? It restarts my network interface, probably kills everything. All right, so I'm gonna go for a couple more minutes here. Do y'all have any? Oh, SolarWinds. Man, so FreePBX is one of the, yeah, that's great. It's great news. I wish someone would walk around, honestly. I just want someone to demonstrate it. Maybe I should go walk around and make the thing come on. Disable update on FreePBX. Okay. Yeah, it's auto updated. It updated yesterday, I think. I need to watch that video. I'll look at that later on and see what we got. Oh, so Avaya. Yeah, we have Avaya at our company. FreePBX, I just use at home because, and I'll tell you where that. Oh, refrigerator. I'm going to forget if I don't talk about the refrigerator. 40. Where's my refrigerator? Where'd it go? Where's my refrigerator? Fridge. Here we go. 46.4. So let me just show you on the fridge what happens. I forgot who asked me that. That was up in the chat a ways. So if I look at Grafana, because I plot everything, of course, and I look at my refrigerator temperature, this is what my refrigerator does. My refrigerator actually has a problem. It's one of those kind that has the French doors on the top and then the freezer down below. And what happens is there's the cold air from the freezer goes up into the refrigerator part and then comes out and cools the refrigerator. That bottom part gets ice in there and moisture, and it freezes all the fins, so no airflow goes to the top. What in the heck is going on here? And so what it does is it freezes up and there's no airflow. So then the temperature starts climbing, and I have to do a forced defrost. I think the control board is going out in the freezer. So or in the refrigerator, and so it doesn't defrost. Sometimes it doesn't manually. So I put this sensor in here, and I made a video. It says it's for the freezer, but I moved it into the refrigerator to use it temporarily. And it actually sends me an alert if the temperature is above 50 degrees for more than 60 minutes. I will get an alert. The speakers in the house will tell me audibly, and then my watch will alert me, and my phone I'll get a pushover alert. So it looks like there's something really strange going on here with my browser and everything else. So let me try again. Otherwise, we're going to have to restart the browser again. See, it won't load Grafana. When you look at the temperature on Grafana, it does this up and down thing all day long as it defrosts and cycles. So that is what it is doing. How am I capturing the temperature? I am using wow, this is really nuts. I am using I will show you in a second as soon as I can get this open back up again. It's a Sonoff device with a temperature probe on it. You know what? I just heard that door open. I'm going to be so I don't think we're ever going to see the sensor on this thing actually work during this live stream, because every time I get ready to do it, something occurs. What I am going to do, oh, I didn't realize that was even open. That might be part of the problem. I'm going to open this up in a different browser and see if that helps. We're going to Firefox, people. We're going to Firefox. And then we'll go over here to Grafana. Oh yeah, there we go. And we will do environment. Here's most of that's humidity. But look, if we look at my temperature, this is what my temperature does all day long, every day. Let's view that on the big screen here. So it gets as high as, about 49 or 50 off and on throughout the day. And that's what you see when it gets up higher. If it stays at this 50 or above range, like I said, I'll get an alert if it's been that way for an hour. So if I look at 7 days, it's been behaving lately, so it's not been a big thing. If I look back at even farther, let's say 30 days, this area here was a problem. So I got an alert here, and then I had to go do a forced defrost cycle on the machine, and then it came back into play. So that is what I use that for. And I use a Sonoff. Let me see if I can find that device for you. It's probably listed in my video comments. How are you getting the signal through the doors? So I have that temperature sensor. So the box. Let me see if I can find it real quick, and then let me answer your question. Did Chrome update and decide to do its own DNS? Because nothing resolves on Chrome at this point. Nothing resolves on Chrome. So let me pull it up on this other browser and see if I can find what that thing is. In fact, why don't I just search for it? Sonoff. Oh wait, I heard a door. Wait for it. Yeah. So I saw it blink for a second there. It's clearing very fast, so I don't get much of a deal there. So there is definitely an issue with DNS because I can't resolve anything externally anymore on my browsers. So anyway, it's a Sonoff device, and the temperature probe actually plugs into the side of the Sonoff device, and then I put that temperature probe inside of the refrigerator, and so all that's going through there. There we go. Do you see that? Uh, I put that temperature probe inside the refrigerator with just a single wire, and it goes through the magnetic little seal there. It's not too bad. It doesn't cause much of a problem. So that's how I do that. And the actual Sonoff device sits up on top of the refrigerator. So this Sonoff box has pluggable sensors in it. You can either get like the little cylinder type sensor, or what I have, which is a more of a like a little box looking sensor. There is a video I have on that sensor, so go find that video, and it describes what that is. You can look at it. It says I put it in the freezer, but I'm actually using it in the refrigerator right now. How do I get to RF and HA for this? Okay, so I'm using, yeah, and so that ESP or that Sonoff. Yeah, I think y'all are answering your question for me. So the Sonoff thing is through their app. You get it configured, and once you get it configured, it shows up as an entity on your integrations. I'm afraid to move over to this because I don't want it to break with all this stuff going on. So it's Shelly. Where's it at? Shelly's my flood sensors. See, nothing here is showing up or resolving at this point. So there's something going on. I either need to reboot my whole computer or something else bad has happened. No battery. It's plugged into the wall. Go find the video. I would show it to you, but I'm having obviously problems here. I don't know what's going on. I'm a little concerned. I've never had this happen, so I'm wondering if I've got some sort of failure about to occur. So I'm going to wrap up the stream here in just a couple of minutes. And y'all can jump on my Discord and have further conversations if you would like. But I appreciate everyone showing up today and spending a little time with me. Apologize for some of the technical hiccups here. I think there's something going on either with AdGuard or my whole computer just needs to be rebooted. Thanks, Windows. But there's no DNS resolution occurring on my computer at this point. I don't know what happened, so we'll fix that up. So I hope it was helpful. We did talk about these buttons. They did work. I know you saw them, but you can build these buttons in. You can do whatever you want with the custom buttons. There is just a ton of configuration options, and that's what makes those buttons so awesome. You can do stuff like this. You can do stuff like this, et cetera, et cetera. So with all of that, I'm going to shut it down. It's time to go feed the children anyway. Give my wife a break from them. And again, I appreciate y'all joining me today, and we will see you on the next stream and or video. Go check out the Sonoff video that I made regarding the sensor that we were just talking about. And then in the dashboard video, go look at that because I go into detail about how I nest all these grid cards together to make everything work for you. So, or work, not work for you, work in general, right? So thank you, and have a great rest of your day and your weekend. And if you are celebrating the rest of this holiday, enjoy that as well. And we will see you on the next stream and our next video. Cheers.